It's time for Sunbelt Conference Baseball on ESPN as we welcome you inside Pete Taylor Park, Hill Denson Field here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where the South Alabama Jags and the nationally ranked Southern Miss Golden Eagles are meeting for the 114th time as we welcome you inside our broadcast booth. I'm Jason Baker, alongside my color analyst, Chris Kirtland. And Kirtland, as we mentioned on the open, 114 times these teams have met on the baseball diamond. Two rivalry teams kind of don't like each other. Makes for great storylines for the weekend.
No doubt, Jason. A lot of history between these two ball clubs. Not too much territory between the two. They meet each other on the field now more often now that they're in the same conference, but definitely played a lot against each other throughout the course of time.
Golden Eagles are coming off a conference series sweep last weekend over in Monroe, Louisiana. South Alabama dropping 2 of 3 against Louisiana. The Jags would love nothing more to get going against the Golden Eagles. Southern Miss wants to return to their winning ways off a midweek loss.
That's right, Jason. Two teams, 6 games into conference. One team has 5 wins. The other team has 5 losses, but still a lot of baseball left in conference play. These two are going to get at it this weekend, trying to get back in the standings for one side, and then another team trying to stay on top of the standings.
That's exactly right in the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. It'll be the South Alabama Jags batting order when we return to Pete Taylor Park. Batting order for Mark Calvi's ball club, and I've turned your attention to Kyle Morrison. Red hot 6 RBIs in a ball game last weekend. Hit a homer on Tuesday night as well, Kirtland.
That's right, Morrison steady at third base as well, batting .347 for the year. A guy that can drive some runs in and be a force in the middle of this South Alabama lineup.
Really got him back into the ball game in that early matchup against Auburn on Tuesday night. On the bump tonight for the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, it's the ace, JB Middleton out of Yazoo City, Mississippi. He's sort of crafting in his 10th career start, happens tonight.
That's right, Middleton has been a steady force on Friday nights for Southern Miss so far this season. A guy that's striking out almost 4-1. He's a guy that has professional level stuff. When he's working at the kneecaps, makes his slider and changeup even more effective. Fastball up to 97 miles per hour.
And receiving it behind the dish tonight for the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, Tucker Stockman, a guy who has sort of settled into that role, sort of the everyday catcher at the moment, catching JB Middleton now for the 3rd time.
That's right. He won a job, in a battle using multiple catchers early in the season. Has been somebody that this lineup has depended on to drive some runs in, and batting .390 on the season helps you stay in that lineup as well.
Look at Davis Gillespie out in left field. So the Golden Eagles and the Jags, these two teams meeting now for what would be the 7th, 8th, and 9th time as conference members. Southern Miss has dominated since joining the Sun Belt Conference, 5-1 against the South Alabama Jags in that time frame. And so it'll be Brennan Holt, the center fielder, to lead it off. For South Alabama, JB Middleton working from the windup. First pitch, we're underway. 2-seam fastball off the plate. Mark Calvi in his 14th season. He's got his ball club at 11-13 overall. As Kirtland mentioned in the open, 1-5 in Sun Belt Conference play. Kirtland, he basically told us on the telephone, we have just not done enough to win games. They have put together a season of numbers to this point that would lead you to believe the record should be better than what it is. Brennan Holt turns on one to center field. Jake Cook scampers over to make the catch. There is one away on a fly ball.
That's right. Back to Coach Calvi and this Jaguar ball club. Lots of close games, lots of one-run losses, meaning that maybe there's a chance to win throughout the ball game or get ahead, and the team hasn't necessarily come through in those situations. But definitely in a spot in the season where some things can change, and that's what they're trying to do here tonight.
Yeah, a lot of baseball left in the season. John Smith wears one up and in from JB Middleton. They weren't sure if John Smith was going to be in the lineup tonight, but he is in there as the DH, and we'll talk more about that the bottom half of the inning.
Looks like that 95-mile-an-hour fastball got a little bit above the elbow pad for John Smith there. Hopefully it caught some of it for his sake anyway.
5th hit batsman of the season by the hand of JB Middleton, and he gets you to the red hot Kyle Morrison, hitting .347 on the season. OBS over 1,000 at the moment still. 33 of 95 for the junior out of Wetumpka, Alabama. Middleton from the stretch. Slider on the 0-1 count.
Such a tough pitch there. Backdoor slider, 89 miles an hour from JB Middleton there to get out in front of this count, 0-2.
Fastball up and away. John Smith has attempted 3 stolen bases on the season, but he hasn't been successful in either of those. There's a ball club in the Jags that comes in 18 of 23 in the stolen base department. 1-2 changeup from JB Middleton, his first strikeout of the night. He fools Kyle Morrison.
Great pitch by Middleton there. Showed the changeup backdoor early, pulls out the changeup there. Or did I say changeup? Showed the slider early backdoor, pulls out the changeup right there.
Yeah, he put the changeup through the front door that time. And Duncan Matthews, the everyday catcher for the Jags, is up, right-handed hitting. Middleton puts the fastball at 95 to his knees. Slider, ground ball. Ozzie Pratt will charge. It's an easy shovel over to Nick Monaster for the force out. That's it for the top of 1 for the Jags. Just a hit batsman was all to speak of. We'll head to the bottom of the first with the lineup for the Golden Eagles coming back. Christian Ostrander's batting club in the Golden Eagles begins at the top with Jake Cook, but it's been Matthew Russo who's really been swinging a hot bat. 3 for 5, couple of homers on Tuesday night against Nichols.
That's right. Matt Russo really emerging as a real force in this lineup all year. Watched for him to be better against left-handed pitching coming into 2025. So far, he has been facing another lefty tonight.
Boy, that's a big improvement from a year ago. It is a lefty tonight. Zach Willingham, he's a Mississippi native out of Cleveland Bayou Academy. 2 guys out of the MAIS system on the bumps tonight. I'm excited to watch Willingham go to work.
That's right. Maybe a guy that doesn't have many starts under his belt this season, filling in on a Friday night, looking to try to challenge this Southern Miss lineup.
You look at Duncan Matthews behind the plate. Brennan Holtz out in center field. John Smith III not out in right. There's a scratch there. Joshua Stevenson will be the right fielder tonight. John Smith III wasn't quite sure if he would be in the lineup for the South Alabama Jags, but he is not out there defensively, but in there to swing the bat as the designated hitter. And there you see Christian Ostrander, who's working in his 2nd season as the head coach of the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. 61 over 27 in his time span up to this point. And Jake Cook stands in, the sophomore out of Madison, Mississippi. He's a big sweeping slider right out of the hand of Zach Willingham to begin. Micah Holman believes it caught the outside corner. Oh, 1 ground ball. This is hit sharply right at the first baseman, Lucas Ishmaeli, and it's a foot race that he beats out Jake Cook in. And there's 1 away.
Can't really take your time on routine ground balls that Jake Cook hits, we've learned.
That one was hit just enough. You could see that's exactly what he's talking about. Making it a bang-bang play over there at first. Ozzie Pratt in the 2-hole, his usual spot in this Golden Eagle order.
You see the challenge that Willingham is going to present to these left-handed hitters is throwing across his body, sort of striding directly into the left-handed batter's box.
Ground ball right to Ishmaeli again. Same result on an unassisted put out by the first baseman. He's been busy already. How good has he been against left-handed hitting, Kirtland? They're hitting sub 115 against him, 111 coming into tonight against Zach Willingham. That's how tough he's been.
And that's why he earns this start against a traditionally left-handed hitting Southern Miss lineup. That means he was coming in and doing his job against left-handed batters. So far, he's shown fastballs and sliders. 81, 83 with the breaking ball. You saw one there to Gillespie. 88 to 90 miles an hour with his fastball.
Yeah, he does possess the change as well. 1-0 fastball, mid-thigh to Davis Gillespie, who will take it for a strike. Gillespie's average at 268. Sees one down here. That was the changeup from Zach Willingham. First time he's unleashed that tonight. Gillespie's been a good hitter this season with 2 outs, hitting .290 on the season. Fights one off the handle of the bat. A souvenir for a Golden Eagle faithful.
Yeah, Gillespie's batting average down just below 270, but still second on the team in RBI, so being productive with his at-bats in 2025.
They wanted it up. That's where they got it, way outside. Out of the hand of Zach Willingham. You could see Duncan Matthews out of the usual catcher's position, kind of indicating where he wanted that. Trying to get Gillespie to chase a letter-high fastball. We've got a full count for the first time tonight. Zach Willingham issues a 2-out walk.
Good job by Gillespie, stretching that at bat a little bit further, extending it to get Russo in the box, one of the hottest hitters coming into this game for the Eagles. But most of all, just not letting Willingham settle in and get that 3-up, 3-down inning in the first inning.
One on, 2 outs. Pitching backwards to start the ball game as Zach Willingham begins with a slider to Matthew Russo. A good one too, up around 2,400 on the spin rate. Tells you the tightness of that pitch. There's another one. This one beaten to the turf. Ishmaeli will charge, but it touches down in foul territory. Native of Madisonville, Louisiana. Product of St. Paul's High School is Matthew Russo. The 0-2. Big wrinkle from Willingham. Really pulled the string. That one started behind Russo, finished on the inner half. The big cut from Russo. No score after 1 tonight in Hattiesburg. We'll be back with more Sun Belt Conference baseball. First inning for both ball clubs. JB Middleton back out on the mound. You mentioned something earlier, Kurt, that frankly he needs to play down in the zone. To me, that's when the stuff is as good as it gets. When you say play down, explain.
So what happens is for Middleton, when he lives at the kneecaps throwing 95, 97 miles an hour, obviously that's a lot harder to handle for a hitter than maybe if it stays up around the waist. But it gives him a release point for his changeup and his slider. If he's getting extension on his slider, it makes it for a really vicious 89 to 91 mile an hour pitch that has a lot of movement on it. Same thing goes for his changeup. He lives down and he matches that same arm slot for all 3 pitches, which makes him the pro prospect and Friday night guy that he is.
Middleton goes fastball. This is lifted a mile into the sky. Tucker Stockman giving chase. I think he was having trouble essentially locating that baseball. Could have been Barrett's play to make as well.
You really want to see Barrett come in there and take a little control as that ball works its way up the line. I think early on it's natural to sort of fade back because it looks like Stockman has a beat on it. It's really hard for a catcher to handle some of those when it starts working itself back up the line. And you kind of want those position guys to catch them with the bigger gloves if you can.
The 0-1 from Middleton. Change up that time to Lucas Ishmaeli.
Something else that makes Middleton so effective is that he's been throwing that changeup to right-handed hitters as well. The right-on-right changeup is something you don't see as often, but guys that can do it can be very effective and deadly to hitters when it's going for them.
2 balls, 1 strike as that slider went away. Ishmaeli's hitting .343 for this ball club. Good for 4th best on the team. 2-1. This is lifted out in the left field in front of Davis Gillespie. Ishmaeli will make a turn. Gillespie's there quickly. It'll be a single for the Jags on their first hit of the ball game.
Just one of those fastballs that stayed up in the zone from Middleton. Got off the cap just a tad from Ishmaeli there. But did a good job of putting it in left field for a single with nobody out.
Rhett Johnson is the batter for South Alabama. Sophomore who's hitting .296 as he enters, making his 19th start of the season, lifts one up on the first pitch. Jags have gone aggressive swinging, both Ishmaeli and Johnson swinging at the first pitch fastball from JB Middleton. Middleton last week in that Friday night start, it was an 8-5 win against the Warhawks. 6 innings of 6-hit baseball, just 1 walk to 4 strikeouts, which is sort of an abnormal number, if you will. But having a talk with Christian Ostrander, he says he doesn't have to get the strikeout number high in order to have a quality start.
And that goes back to that effectiveness and efficiency that we've heard Coach Ostrander talk about often, especially with you prior to these Friday night games, and how strikeouts take a lot of pitches sometimes. It's okay to get 1 pitch, 1 out, you know?
Yeah.
And that can kind of slide you along deeper into a ball game because the pitch count doesn't get as high and the fatigue doesn't set in as soon.
Ishmaeli takes off. A good throw from Tucker Stockman. They believe Ishmaeli was tagged on his shoulder by Ozzie Pratt. He's gunned down on a caught stealing.
Yeah, and great job by Stockman. It looked like a slider there out of the hand of Middleton. Got the swing and the miss. And powered through for a good throw down to second base to get the stealing runner.
2-2 changeup. Really filthy pinch out of the hand of JB Middleton. So you get the throw him out, strikeout combo off the stolen base, and then you get the swing and a miss from Rhett Johnson. There's 2 away.
Can't really figure out if it was a hit and run or just sort of a steal with some protection prior to, but Middleton did a great job of throwing the slider and then backing that good slider back foot up with a changeup for the strikeout pitch.
Greg Boutte takes a slider up and in at 89. Boutte, the second baseman tonight for the Jags, making his 13th start with a line out to Matthew Russo. And that's it for the Jags. The single off Ishmaeli. He was caught stealing. That was all to speak of at the top of 2. We'll be back. Those are the patrons of the Pete Taylor Park on a Friday night. Boy, they wait all year for these opportunities, and frankly, so do we, Kirtland. And so far, the story right now, JB Middleton not utilizing the fastball. It's been the off-speed stuff that's been effective thus far.
Yeah, commanding both off-speed pitches for strikes, making it really tough on the South Alabama offense, getting his team back into the dugout to try to scratch the board here in the second.
Nick Monaster will be up. It's 5, 6, 7 in this order for Southern Miss. Monaster's average on the climb up to 292 for the junior out of Brandon, Mississippi. He's had a hit in 10 of his last 11 ball games. Ground ball off a high hop over to Ty Brooks, who will get it across the diamond, and there's one away.
Now batting for Southern Miss, right fielder number 37.
Yeah, Monaster's been having a really nice year, increasing the batting average from last year. But even last year and this year, been a guy that can drive runs in, and a guy that is going to hit some homers and doubles as well.
Speaking of hitting homers, here's a guy that could do it as well as anyone inside of Pete Taylor Park. It's Carson Pato. He gets started with a fastball right at the letters on the outer half. The senior out of Van Cleve, Mississippi. Pops a slider up, third base side, and it is just going to get over towards that Golden Eagle bullpen.
And that's really been the difference for Carson and Matthew Russo here in 2025, handling this left-handed pitching. Both hitting right around 300 this year. Pato with 26 RBI, Russo with 22.
Lays off the downstairs changeup from Zach Willingham as well. Pato took a step towards patience a year ago. We talked a lot about it early in the season. His walk numbers were way up. And I think that just comes from the veteran approach, right? I mean, it comes with experience.
Agreed, Jason. I think when the walks come, the on-base percentage increases. It gets to a point where pitchers feel like they need to feed you more fastballs or get to that zone a little bit more often. Carson's done a great job of that. That split is really indicative of the season that he's had, hitting even better off of left-handed pitching than he is against right-handed pitching. And that is a very rare statistic to see in a batting lineup.
Full count walk to Carson Pato. There's an example of the pitches that maybe 2 seasons ago he would offer at, especially you saw Willingham go to that big sweeping slider low and away. But those approaches have changed for Carson Pato. Speaking of change, the Golden Eagles have made a change in their batting order. Tucker Stockman in the 7-hole tonight. Up hitting .390 is Tucker Stockman. He's had 14 hits in his last 10 games. Those have all been starts. 7 runs scored across that span. Matthews sets up inside. Boy, Tucker Stockman was trying to make this ball game 2-0. Big cut on a Willingham fastball at 90. Pato runs well over at first base. It's a good take by Tucker Stockman on the 0-2.
Sort of the first hard slider there that Willingham tried to bury.
When you look at those numbers, what he's done on the splits. 1-2, big cut from Tucker Stockman.
And that's when he slows it down a bit, Willingham, and throws that 80, 81 mile an hour slider.
Yeah, really taking something off of it.
He can spin it, that's for sure, Jason. He does a really good job of spinning that breaking ball and kind of cross-firing, coming across his body, but also kind of trying to pound it inside to those right-handed hitters. And
Dre Barrett, the freshman out of Deatsville, Alabama, is in. Both he and Seth Smith have been in a rotation at third base. It's been based on the pitching matchup. Right-handed hitting Dre Barrett to see the left-handed throwing Zach Willingham tonight. He'll take a 79-mile-per-hour breaking ball for a strike. It evens up at a ball and a strike.
Crowd didn't like that one, but that was just because Matthews caught it bad there. It was actually confirmed by K-Zone. Kind of evens his count up at 1-1.
They try to put a fastball to the back foot of Dre Barrett at 89. Willingham had a beautiful start last Friday night. 7 innings of 8-hit baseball, just 3 earned runs given up, struck out 7 through 93 pitches for the Jags last Friday night at Eddie Stanky Field. But it was a 7-1 loss. Mark Calvi said this is a ball club, it's been the timing hits. It's been not being able to knock these runners in when they get in scoring position or make pitches when he needs to. And here's an example as Dre Barrett gets the 2-out single, and Carson Pato goes first to third on heads-up base running on the single out to center field in front of Brennan Holt.
That's right, Dre Barrett gets behind in the count early, battles back, gets a hanging breaking pitch, and does a really good job of hanging in on it and getting across the plate and getting some barrel to it. He's a freshman in this lineup, that is Dre Barrett, but a guy that's been getting his chances and keeping his strikeout to walk ratio hand in hand. 9 walks on the year, only 11 punch outs, so a solid piece at the bottom of this Golden Eagle lineup. Extends this inning with 2 outs.
Willingham puts a breaking ball deep into Joey Urban.
Seems like it's kind of hard slider, fastballs in to these right-handed hitters, and then it's that sweeper of a breaking ball, the slower slider that we're seeing that Willingham actually has really good command for. Those are the 3 that we've seen so far to these right-handed hitters.
Willingham goes below the knees to Joey Urban, who has worked his count 3-0. Fastball center cut right to Joey Urban. 88 miles per hour. Took a little something off, did Willingham. Big moment here, at least early. And Urban wears one right on the arm. He's going to put the bases loaded as Dre Barrett trots up to second base. Joey Urban, the 9-hole hitter, turns this lineup over. Kirtland.
I think it got some ribs there. That one probably hurt a little bit more than it should have. There's Coach Calvi coming to calm things down a little bit and remind Willingham that there are 2 outs.
And these are the moments that he's talked about. This is, if you're here for the Jags tonight, kind of wondered what's been wrong with Jag baseball. Why are we 11-13 with a club coming in hitting 283, right? Opponents only hitting 250 off of us. It's been these type of moments, and that's what Mark Calvi told us, that this team's got to find a way to flip that switch. That's got to be what he's out there to talk to Zach Willingham.
That's right. This is it right here. You know, if you step up and get an out for your team, you're escaping the jam with no runs on the board. But if you're Southern Miss, you're excited to get back to the top of the lineup right here with one of those bats that you trust and want in the box in this moment.
Willingham goes up and in to Jake Cook. Tell me if this is good. He's 28 of his last 52. That's 53.8%, a .538 batting average over his last 12 ball games. Oh, by the way, that happens to be since moving him into the leadoff role.
Those are the kind of numbers you haven't seen if you're these guys since you were in Little League.
2-0 pitch. Breaking ball wide of the plate here. Patrons of the Pete wait loud early in this one. 3-0 pitch. That's in for a strike. Off the outer half to Jake Cook. Hitters count.
Get all over the place. If that light could be perfect one time.
Stretch. Fastball away. It's an RBI on a walk for Jake Cook.
Yeah, as soon as it got to 3-0 there, I wouldn't have been surprised if Jake was taking until he got 2 strikes. It just seems as if Willingham has lost his groove just a tad here. These Golden Eagle hitters are going to do their best to try to capitalize.
Ozzie Pratt sees a good tight slider right to his knee, in for a strike. Duncan Matthews, masterfully done behind the plate, blocking up that slower of the 2 breaking balls.
Pratt's a guy that actually walks more than he strikes out, which is something that is pretty much unheard of in 2025 in college baseball. But a guy that just does not strike out, puts the ball in play. And that's not on a limited sample size either.
Another breaking ball from Zach Willingham. He sort of has abandoned the fastball with the bases loaded. It's been a lot of heavy secondary mix.
Yeah, it just has the strike throwing percentage hasn't been as high with that fastball. Trying to go with something that can work. We've seen good demand out of that slider.
Throws fastball here to the belt of Ozzie Pratt. And it's another full count.
He's got a pause.
Second one of the inning. He walked Carson Pato on one earlier. And he has walked Ozzie Pratt here. And another walk that has led to a run. As Dre Barrett in that 2-out single comes around to score.
Yeah, this South Alabama pitching staff has struck out 186 batters so far this season, but has walked 112. To try to put that in a comparison or for perspective, Southern Miss pitchers have struck out 223 batters this season and only walked 77.
Davis Gillespie turns on one. That might have been on top the apartment complex.
It's tough to do much more with that pitch. He got the barrel to it. It's a good 2 balls inside, trying to get that fastball way in and not let Gillespie get his arms extended. It would have been really hard to keep that one fair, but he definitely hit it a long way.
Yeah, 110 miles per hour off his barrel. The 1-1 from Willingham. There's the wrinkle right to the knee of Davis Gillespie.
Getting a little help there from the umpire. Not a bad take by Davis Gillespie there. It was a bit outside according to K-Zone.
1-2 fastball down and in. Duncan Matthews has been really good back there.
The important thing is, after a hit by pitch and 2 walks, is not to help him outside of the zone if you're Gillespie in the batter's box here.
2-2, Gillespie spoils a pitch here. 2-0 Southern Miss. Willingham's breaking ball can't locate, and it's another full count. 3rd one of the inning. See what Willingham chooses. He goes fastball. Gillespie lifts it to center field. Brennan Holt is there at the warning track. That's it for the Golden Eagle rally. 106 off the bat of Davis Gillespie, but the park contains it. But the Golden Eagles strike first. That's good news. They're 13-1 when doing so. They're up 2-0 after 2. So the Golden Eagles strike. They get a rally. They get the single by Dre Barrett with 2 outs after the walk by Carson Pato. He went first to third. Then a hit batsman, followed by a couple of walks, led to a couple of runs for Southern Miss, and they now lead it as we enter the top of the 3rd tonight, Kirtland.
That's right. If you're JB Middleton, you're pleased to see a couple runs get on the board early in this ball game. If you're the Southern Miss offense, you're happy to get some things moving and shaking offensively on a Friday night. But if you're Southern Miss, you want to see Middleton go back out there and get those bats back in the dugout.
8, 9, and 1 are up in the Jags order. It'll be Josh Stevenson to lead it off.
Leading off for South Alabama, right fielder, number 2, Josh
Stevenson, the senior, hitting a .161 on the season for South Alabama. Middleton goes fastball to Stevenson away, who gets just a piece. So it's kind of unique. Both starters tonight, to me, to this point, have been really heavily dependent on the secondary stuff. That's the changeup from JB Middleton at 86 under the hands of Josh Stevenson.
That's right, Jason. And I think the main difference is that Middleton can run it up there to 96 and 97 miles an hour and sort of change things up the second time and third time through the lineup. But when you got your secondary stuff working, you got a chance to get deep into ball games. Just so happened that the Golden Eagles caught a stretch there where the ball wasn't crossing the plate as often. They were able to scratch that board twice.
Finds the ladder. That's 96 up and away, and Josh Stevenson heads back to the dugout. That's the third strikeout of the night for JB Middleton.
Kind of showed him some off speed early, like you mentioned, and finished things off with the 96 at the shoulders.
Fastball had life to it too, right about 20 inches. Reduced vertical break. He goes tight slider to the knees of Ty Brooks, the sophomore from Montgomery, Alabama. He's hitting .246 on the year. Another tight slider again from JB.
And you're right, Jason, and it needs to be mentioned, you know, this offense that South Alabama has is no slouch, as you said, hitting up above 280 on the year. Got a lot of guys hitting well over 300 in this lineup. So you can't just serve it up. Middleton doing a great job of throwing his off speed and showing a real solid 3-pitch mix this time through.
Yeah, and I think you were sort of demonstrating it to me in the commercial break. When he gets the changeup going, it's 2 pitches in the slider and the change that contrast each other, right? Especially these left-handers. He's throwing that slider that's breaking in and tight and in, and the changeup's locating away. But then you throw in what he just threw him, which is the 95-mile-per-hour heater. He can become a problem.
Changeup, wow.
Boy, because of that, a 1-2 change. JB's got it working. 4 Ks tonight. There's 2 away.
Yeah, I think, Jason, you described it perfectly. You know, when you throw pitches that kind of contrast each other, you see how much arm side movement that changeup has right there in slow motion. You see some of the stuff online these days from the Pitching Ninja.
Oh, that's my guy.
Those overlays where you see the greatest pitchers have the same release, but can do the same release for 3 or 4 different pitches. And then you see that spray of those baseballs going in different directions. So you can imagine how hard it is to be a hitter standing in that batter's box not knowing what's coming.
Were you hip to Rob Friedman last night? Were you following his timeline? Did you see the Sandy Alcantara sinker?
I did, actually.
26 inches of run.
Yes. It's
at
hard
95.
to hit. It is hard to hit,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
We got keyboard cowboys everywhere that thinks it's easy. 1-1 pitch from JB Middleton. There you go, 95 at the belt.
Great extension with his fastball there. We saw him climb the ladder a little bit for strike 3 early in the inning, but for him to dot it like that with extension on the low part of the zone means his stuff is going good.
Brennan Holt is the batter. 1-2, 2 outs. Fastball 95. Just missed.
Really good 2-strike pitch, really good 1-2 pitch there from Middleton. You can see getting that fastball going at 95 miles an hour, dotting the lower part of the zone there. Just missed. And now, if you're standing in that batter's box, you're really not sure what could be coming.
It's the slider, 2-2. They say Brennan Holt went around. Did Joe Harris, our third base umpire tonight. How about to strike him out of the side in the top of 3 for JB Middleton. 5 strikeouts on the night, 99 Ks for his career. We'll be back to Hattiesburg. Competitive at the baseball. But not tonight, man.
Yeah, a little bit.
Inside lane winner here at Pete Taylor Park.
Bring the kids to the game.
Jasmine. Matthew Russo sees a pitch inside. Jags were up for some games. Jasmine in our lower first camera well. There was a standoff that was happening. We had to get to the action. So Jags won, Jasmine nothing right now. But it's 2-0 Golden Eagles.
It's all right, Jasmine.
We got your back. Duncan Matthews, little equipment malfunction. Oh, it's on. Brace yourself.
Well, at least he's got a highlight for later on this evening if he's not in the game right now.
Baseball's changed, hasn't it? The earpiece, there's Jasmine. Great job, Jasmine. We think you're winning. Matthew Russo up for the Golden Eagles, hitting .292 on the season at this point. Zach Willingham is back out. Flutters a breaking ball to Russo inside. 2-0 on the count.
Watch Matthew Russo sell himself out to his approach. Watch him get the foot down early against this lefty on purpose, because things like that can happen.
He's pretty good at this, Kirtland.
He sold out to the plan. He said, look, I'm batting against a lefty. I've got to shorten things up. I've got to get my foot down early. But guess what happens there? He sees the ball better. He sees it longer. And he's strong enough to put it off the scoreboard even with that style of approach. So kids watching at home, that's a big man that chokes up on the bat and sells out to his approach against a left-handed hitter and goes backside off the scoreboard.
Man, you should have thought about coaching or something at some point in your life. 405 feet from Matthew Russo, 103 off the bat. And the Bull has a homer. That's the 13th straight game for the Golden Eagles with a home run.
I didn't know that he would hit a backside homer like that, Jason, but I saw in the first pitch that he was really selling out to what his approach was against Willingham, the lefty.
Nick Monaster joins the hit parade. He's got now 11 hits in the last 12 ball games for Nick Monaster. He's heating up, and we've talked at length early in this season about the length of this lineup. This is why.
No question, Jason. I mean, the numbers in every statistical category for this offense have taken a step up from 2024, in which they had a very good offensive season. But you see the maturity in these hitters. Matthew Russo, Nick Monaster. You've got the veterans back like Pato. But to see these guys that have another year under their belt kind of expand their approach, their experience is all kind of coming out in some success here early on in 2025 in the middle of conference play.
You alluded to it earlier, but Carson Pato up over 300 average against left-handed pitching on the season. That is not atypical of the game of baseball. Typically a left-on-left, you'll see numbers that far and away slide to the pitcher's side of things. Willingham goes fastball to Pato on the outer half.
And that's really the difference, Jason, in both Pato and Russo bumping up their overall batting averages, their approach this season, and especially against left-handed pitching, because opposing teams have really tried to or have needed to use their left-handed pitchers against this left-hand dominant Southern Miss lineup. But guys like Russo and Pato have done a really good job of sticking to their plan and getting the job done at a higher level this year.
Carson down on a changeup from Zach Willingham. There's one away. It's the third strikeout of the night for Zach Willingham.
That's just Willingham having a chance to take a breath there after the homer and the single from Russo and Monaster. After the long inning in the second, this Eagle lineup is looking to get some more guys on base and force Zach Willingham to work even harder early in this ball game and try to get to a bullpen.
It's a slider inside the Tucker Stockman. You see the numbers on the season, a .383 average to this point. So the pitch up and inside again. That's the fastball from Willingham. This is me inquiring, not me questioning. This is what I would like you to teach me. So it's 2-0. Is that a situation, like, teach me where you're thinking, could you hit and run here to try to get something going with one out? And if so, what count, from your perspective, coaching, did you like to try to do it in?
Sure. So there were a lot of spots and something really that Travis Creel, the guy in the Golden Eagle third base box, did a lot more of as he began to grow running offense for me at Jones Junior College, of course, was do those one-out hit and runs and getting some guys moving. A guy like Monaster, you're not necessarily worried about him getting doubled up as often, and so he may have more of a steal situation and not have to force Stockman to swing. Sometimes you got situations where a runner like Stockman's at first and you want to get him going, and you got a contact guy in the box that doesn't strike out often. In fact, similar to Dre Barrett, which is a real reason why those guys hit like they do. And you look for spots where usually it's an early count because you're not going to do it with 2 strikes as often.
Sure.
But you love an even count like 1-1. Counts that you're going to get a fastball in, like you mentioned, 2-0. You get to 3-1, you think somebody can do some damage, you might not get that guy going from first base.
Is it harder maybe against a situation where maybe like tonight where Willingham's not been able to necessarily locate?
You're exactly right, Jason.
Right.
When a guy's giving you bases on balls, you're not necessarily going to work to give up an out.
Hot shot, fielded beautifully by Kyle Morrison. The play is on a force up at second base by Greg Pate. He dropped it on the exchange. That'll force out Tucker Stockman, but it'll put runners on the corners. That's Kyle Morrison playing nice defense by the third baseman, and that's significant. Early this season, struggled a bit at the hot corner, but Mark Calvi said, hey, he's hitting the baseball too well, and I believe he can play that position. He is stuck with him. It's a guy that's fielding about .847 coming into tonight. It was a nice play at the hot corner by Kyle Morrison.
That's right. Good job keeping that ball in the infield and getting it out.
Joey Urban's going to push this through the 4-hole, and that will play to run. Nick Monaster scores from third. It's a 4-0 Southern Miss lead with their 4th hit of the night.
Sometimes you just hit them where they ain't. And that was a cue shot off of the cap of the bat by Urban, but perfectly placed in the 4-hole for a 2-out knock and an RBI. And just to kind of finish that point on the hit and run situations, Jason, it's when you got a pitcher that's kind of giving you some things, you don't necessarily want to feel like you got to swing or protect a runner. But when you do have a lead, it is a great time to start doing some of those things because it's easier to kind of be in that spot and to try to break things open and put crooked numbers on the board.
Yeah, and it helps with tools like this one. Jake Cook, the leadoff batter of this Golden Eagle club, handles a bat as well as anyone. Words out, too, by the way. About 7 to 9 scouts today taking in BP. They all almost in unison to Travis Creel wanting to know, hey, where's he at in this batting practice order?
It's beginning to be a thing. Southern Miss can't hang on to a center fielder for more than one season. If you go back, you know, you had Etzel last year, McIntyre.
You can go back to Reed Trimble, right?
Trimble for 1 year. The list is long, but that means you got talented guys and guys that are giving themselves a chance to play at the next level.
Jay Cook down swinging on a wicked breaking ball from Zach Willingham, but not before the Golden Eagles strike for a couple of runs on a trio of hits. The big fly, 405 feet off the board from Matthew Russo. Golden Eagles lead 4-0. Matthew Russo, opposite field homers off the board, makes those guys happy here at Pete Taylor Park. Packed crowd out in the right field. Chris Kirtland. I want to go back to the Russo homer. You were seeing something. You said it on the first pitch, that Matthew Russo's approach at the plate. He's a guy, look, man, he battled for that position at first base, won the job. A lot of it had to do, too, as well with Davis Gillespie kind of being able to play left field a year ago. And since that moment that he's won that job at first base, he has not looked back, Chris.
Great way to put it. A guy who goes out and wins a job last year and showed, hey, you're not going to take this from me. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to be your first baseman. Put me in the lineup, coach. Really hasn't looked back. Huge home runs late in the year in 2024. Really started to show some power. And that power has continued and really been a guy for a team looking for homers to come out and hit some home runs for this Golden Eagle Ball Club. Yeah, that being the 8th of the year for Matt Russo.
Yeah, 38th home run for this ball club. They are coming in bunches for this team. The 1-1 from JB Middleton. That's high-octane premium stuff as he blows it by John Smith.
So, second time through the lineup here. And you mentioned earlier he was using the secondary stuff. First time through, we saw a lot of curveballs. Sliders and changeups. And there's a couple fastballs there. So I would expect that this lineup, not having seen too many fastballs the first time through, sort of an approach by Oz and company is going to be to bring out some heat here in the middle innings.
It's the 100th K for JB Middleton. Not tonight. That would be cool, though. But that's in his career.
Looked like a lot of Ks there.
They would run out of Ks, by the way. Middleton goes slider up in the zone. It's a bouncer to Matthew Russo off the bat of Kyle Morrison. Quickly 2 away. And Duncan Matthews will come to the plate for South Alabama.
Now batting the Jaguars catcher, Duncan Matthews.
You know, Middleton's a guy, we've told this story before, but it's worth telling. A year ago, he was shut down for about 3 weeks by Christian Ostrander. There was some mechanics that Christian Ostrander noticed in JB Middleton, that Oz touch, if you will, and he really honed them up. And frankly, JB has looked completely different from that point on.
That's right. Always a guy that had the velocity, but for whatever reason wasn't quite as effective as maybe JB and Coach Ostrander felt that he could be.
Yeah.
And they were able to find it and to go from being a guy that was sort of searching for himself and maybe throwing too many balls to a guy who's starting on Friday nights has been just a great story.
He's been dynamite so far. Just the 1 hit allowed. That's it for the top of 4. 4-0 Southern Miss as we return to Hattiesburg. This makes this man really happy. This is cool. This is the batting order, not by name, but by position of the Golden Eagle lineup. And Kirtland, keep in mind, we've played 25 games in basically 3 innings to this point. And you can look at the balance of the lineup, only 1 spot below 25 hits in that order. That's the 7th hole. Mind you, tonight, that's maybe why Tucker Stockman's in there, to get more production out of that 7th hole. This, to me, tells you the length of that Golden Eagle order and the effect that Travis Krill has had on this Golden Eagle offense.
That's a great illustration right there, seeing everybody at right around 25 to 35 to close to 40 hits. Every batter in that lineup has less than 100 at-bats on the season. So you can do your math there and say, hey, wow, this ball club is hitting about 300.
That's right.
And that's a mark that you want to be at. There's a lot of really good ball clubs in the country that are hitting well below 300. And so that's a strong statement to make, and that's a really cool illustration.
And look, I mean, I just think it speaks to the development of this Golden Eagle offense. You know, so much with Christian Ostrander being a pitching coach, the identity of this ball club has been around the arms, right? The stuff, if you will. But I think this offense would like a word as well, and it's been on full display tonight already. 4 hits, the 4 runs. Davis Gillespie sees a changeup for a strike.
Yeah, so many great things for this Golden Eagle lineup.
Gillespie on top of one. Kyle Morrison pumps it twice, fires it across 2 away quickly for the Golden Eagles here in the bottom of it.
Now batting for Southern Miss, first baseman Matthew Russo.
It's an offense with 13 straight games with a home run thanks to Matthew Russo tonight. That's the 4th time since Travis Creel began as the hitting coach that's occurred.
38 home runs on the season for this Golden Eagle ball club. 53 doubles as well.
Russo's approach that other way as well. You know, so often it's really difficult, in my opinion, from college baseball players to sort of make that transition. To me, the elite hitters now are the guys that not only can play to the opposite field gap, but can play over the wall of the opposite field gap. And he has demonstrated it time and time again that he has that ability. Christian Ostrander today, as soon as he entered the dugout, he always, as any pitching coach would, check the flags and then looked as batting practice was going on how the ball was carrying to left center field. And he literally looked at me and said, well, there's one man in this stadium happy about it, and that's Matthew Russo, because his approach has been that way of late, almost calling that Russo could have a home run to left center tonight, and he did.
That's really good. That's really a good way to put it, and kind of watch a guy that's extremely coachable, kind of using the approach.
And it's a disciplined approach, too. Look, that's not easy, right? I mean, you're a power hitter. You're a guy known for your pop and your bat. Typically, that speaks to the ability to pull the baseball. But the really good ones, to me, the elite hitters that Matthew Russo's turning into, they have the ability to go the other way with power.
Just kind of knows not too many fastballs are going to come his way. Kind of waiting for his spot to pounce.
1-2 breaking ball evens up the count.
I mean, that pitch right there is one that, you know, a lot of left-handed hitters are going to offer at.
Yeah.
And so, and you know, that's the story of a lot of guys in this lineup that have had the experience. Starting last year, guys like Pratt coming in, not a newcomer to college baseball, but a newcomer to Southern Miss. But guys like Gillespie and Russo, who had to kind of earn their way in. Same thing with Stockman and the freshman Barrett.
2-2. Russo checks his swing, holds up, and the count's going to go to full. Such a tough pitch. Boy, that's a great location by Zach Willingham. That slider down and away. 3-2 breaking ball that missed inside. It's a walk for Matthew Russo.
From way behind in the count, fouled off enough pitches and took enough balls to extend this inning with 2 outs. After a quick 2 outs to start the inning there with Pratt and Gillespie, Travis Creel, the third base coach, calls a timeout. That's all about trying to break a little bit of rhythm and not give Zach Willingham the quick chance at a 1-2-3.
Willingham, this one skips away from Duncan Matthews. He has been a wall back there. He's had to deal with a lot of balls down in the turf. But this one gets away, and it allows Russo up into scoring position.
Now all of a sudden, even after the 2 quick outs to start this 4th inning, Russo gets the 2-out walk, finds his way to second base and in scoring position for Nick Monaster coming off a hard hit single in his last at bat.
Yeah, and it's a veteran at bat too that knows how to hit with 2 outs. He hits .317 on the season. Over 300 with runners on base as well. One fastball high. I had a riveting conversation this afternoon with Nick Monaster about did we or did we not actually put people on the moon.
I don't know if you should tell us what you or he was thinking. I don't know.
Well, we haven't been able to quite end it. It was time for stretching and warm-ups. We're going to continue that conversation tomorrow with all other sorts of theories. 2-2 pitch. This went off the handle of the bat.
Yeah.
Oh, the things you can talk about in a dugout.
It then turned. The conversation ended. They're going to say that ball got a piece of Nick Monaster. So he's aboard at first. Yeah, Mark Calvi kind of saying, hey, I thought he was swinging, which he was.
No, catcher's interference.
There we go.
I was thrown for a loop.
Me
Sorry.
too. Well,
we're sitting here talking about the moon and everything.
Yep.
I was out in space, I guess.
There you go. Well played. Carson Pato sees a breaking ball for a strike. Really a delayed call on the catcher's interference. Willingham to Pato. It's a ground ball. Plate's got it to second baseman, over to first. And that's it. The Golden Eagles, little mini 2-out rally. Score remains 4-0. We'll be back to Pete Taylor Park. And underneath the lights of Pete Taylor Park on a Friday night, beginning to be kind of my favorite way to spend them, right alongside of you. The Southern Miss Golden Eagle Baseball Club, 18-7 overall, 5-1 in Sun Belt Conference play. Middleton's been a story thus far tonight. 4 innings of work, 1 hit, has not walked anyone. He has struck out 6, and that's with 43 pitches to this point, Kirtland.
Yeah, a tale of two sides of the ball game here as Zach Willingham approaches 90 pitches on that side. Southern Miss and JB Middleton have been really efficient through 4, coming out here for the 5th, only having 43 pitches being thrown.
Both guys born and raised up in the Mississippi Delta. Tight slider from JB Middleton, a product out of the Benton Academy Raiders baseball program. He's one of these guys that the COVID-19 pandemic sort of shortened his high school numbers, but he made up for it those last 2 years before becoming a Golden Eagle. How'd you like to see Middleton in MAIS action? He went 81 innings across 2 seasons, his last 2 seasons. You ready for this? Struck out 188 folks.
Goodness gracious. That's a lot of strikeouts.
2-1 fastball. This is lifted up. Ozzie Pratt's going to take control of this one. And he'll make the catch. It is the shortstop's play if he wants it. Lucas Ishmaeli is down, and there's 1 away.
The pizza man.
Isn't that something? What a developing story that's become. Making pizzas on Wednesdays on his off days at a local pizza establishment in Hattiesburg. Rhett Johnson will be the batter. Middleton slider. This is Chop DeRusso. PFP in play. Middleton's a good athlete. He was over there in plenty of time to touch the bag. And there's 2 away.
Just that standard PFP. Pitcher's fielding his position. One you practice. 50 or 60 times a week.
Did you start practice with it? Most clubs do.
So early on in practice so that the pitchers could go ahead and just shag the rest of the time. I'm just kidding, pitchers.
That's right. Greg Pate is the batter. Big slider, wide a hole play. That was a nice job of saving that baseball from the backstop by Tucker Stockton. So we turned from moon conversation all about the additive known as Yellow 5. It then turned into the seventh wonders of the world. And Tucker Stockman and I, along with Joey Urban, talked about seeing Niagara Falls.
Right. Y'all covered it all.
We did. JB Middleton puts the fastball low.
JB, even one.
Glad these guys are well read.
They are. Boy, I tell you, a well-versed club. 2-2 for Middleton. This is lifted up, fouling out of play. 2-2 pitch. This one capped right back to the backstop. Will stay alive. Will Greg Pate, the second baseman, who lined out to Matthew Russo in his first at-bat. Pate, a guy hitting 273. This is a club, we said it, that average of over 280 as a club. Slider at the letters away. And it's the first full count tonight that JB Middleton has been in.
I'm going to say that he throws the heater here, and I was wrong.
3-2 slider. And that one missed away. Pate's aboard. I was getting ready to give you this. That is the first walk in the last two starts for JB Middleton here at Pete Taylor Park. That goes all the way back across 7 innings against Old Dominion that he struck out 10. He struck out 6 prior to that first walk tonight through 4 2/3 here.
So 16 strikeouts before the first walk in his last 2 starts here at Pete Taylor Park.
That seems good.
Really good.
Josh Stevenson, the batter, who sees a ball down. Low, tight slider. Boy, that's a tough pitch, Kirtland, when you kind of even see Stevenson's reaction. I mean, what do you do with that pitch if you're a left-handed hitter? There's really nothing you can do, right?
Yeah, that's the old, throw up your hands. It's Mariano Rivera cutter, style location right there. That's the same pitch. Of course, Rivera used to throw it 92, 94, and it was a cutter. But Middleton's showing good feel for throwing that slider inside to those lefties, and that's a really tough frisbee to handle coming around your hips there.
That was a changeup called strike 3 to Josh Stevenson, the 7th strikeout of the night by JB Middleton, and that's it for the top half of 5. 4-0 Southern Miss here at Pete Taylor Park. Where these two clubs entered the Sun Belt Conference play on the weekend. Southern Miss that game lead over Troy and Coastal Carolina. Of course, Troy and Coastal played each other just a weekend ago. Louisiana Monroe down at the bottom off that sweep where they got swept by the Golden Eagles, but joined by South Alabama at 1-5. But we should point out there is a lot of baseball still left to be played in this conference.
That's right, Jason. A lot of things bunched up in the conference right now. You go out there and grab 2 out of 3 in a weekend series, no matter where you are on that list, you're finding your way up towards the top half.
7, 8, and 9 are up for the Golden Eagles. Tucker Stockman is 0 for 1 tonight with a walk. 92nd pitch from Zach Willingham, and Tucker Stockman yanks one right past the third baseman, Kyle Morrison. Base knock for Tucker Stockman tonight. Base hit number 5 for the Golden Eagles on the evening.
by Stockman, doing what he's done well all year. Adding another hit to his hit total. And as you mentioned earlier, getting some production for this lineup out of the 7-hole.
Here's Dre Barrett, the 8-hole hitter. Barrett sees a breaking ball. That one missed outside. Willingham has been a quality start machine so far for South Alabama. Quality starts defined 6 innings pitched, less than or equal to 3 earned runs. He's had 4 of them this season so far. That's really what Mark Calvi would love to get out of Zach Willingham, but a leadoff single to Tucker Stockman right now puts action up in the Jags pin. As you see Dalton Brooks beginning to get loose. 3-0 fastball to Dre Barrett is in for a strike. Native of Deatsville, Alabama. .31 fastball. Barrett goes the other way. This is out in the right center field and down. For a base knock from Dre Barrett, who's been aboard all 3 times tonight, twice on singles and once on a fielder's choice.
That's right, Jason. Sometimes it's good when the ball catches the handle a little bit, can fall right in there in a spot for a base hit. Getting this inning to a point where the first 2 hitters get on base and South Alabama gets forced to make a move.
They sure are. Mark Calvi out. Zach Willingham's night is done. Dalton Brooks into this ball game for the Jags. We'll be back with his numbers when we return. Pitching change here at Pete Taylor Park on this Friday night of Sun Belt Conference action. They go to a low arm slot. Dalton Brooks, the senior out of Sharpsburg, Georgia, in at 6'2". He's been used quite a bit. A save on the season, 14 2/3 innings pitched. Surrendered 13 hits, 5 runs in that span. It's swing and miss stuff, Kirtland. He has struck out 16 versus walking 6 to this point in the season.
That's right. Brooks will kind of live in that upper 80s to 90 miles an hour with his fastball. He's a guy that does have the lower arm slot, as you mentioned. A guy that can get the ground ball.
So Joey Urban is up. 9-hole hitter who had an RBI single his last trip up. That was back in the 3rd. That was plating Nick Monaster, who had singled after the Matthew Russo home run. Urban pops this sacrifice attempt up.
Ball's elevated up and out of the zone. You kind of want to have your setup for your sacrifice bunt at the top of the zone. Anything above that, you're going to go ahead and take and then work down to everything else. I expect Joey to be squaring around again here to get these runners over to 2nd and 3rd. Try to pad this lead in the 5th inning for the Eagle offense.
Brooks makes a move back. Tucker Stockman back to 2nd base. Golden Eagles are tied for 5th in the Sun Belt Conference in sack bunts. 14 entering tonight. 1-1 Urban pushes this one foul up the first base line. So the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Two on, nobody out. Second look to Tucker Stockman. Change up or breaking ball of some sort from Dalton Brooks. I couldn't tell. That was wiffle ball.
Or an ephus, yeah.
An
Definitely a
ephus,
slow
oh boy.
pitch. We've seen some, 72 to 74 coming out of the hands of Dalton Brooks here.
2-2.
Slider.
Urban back up the middle on the line out to Greg Bate, the second baseman.
Another 74-mile-an-hour pitch. Just some soft stuff. Really getting Joey Urban back on out on his front side. Good job by Stockman staying put and knowing where the middle infield was located in order not to be doubled up at second base.
So 2 on, 1 out. Jake Cook. He's a wrinkle way away. 75 miles per hour. That would had over 21 inches of run. Well, this is some pitch out of Dalton Brooks here.
Yeah, that's the.
It's got to be the change.
Yeah, that's
right?
the effective pitch going away from those lefties.
Yeah, the
75-mile-an-hour changeup that he gets away with it up in the zone too. It's so funky.
2-0. Then he goes 88. That's what happens. Gets Jake Cook fooled, and it's 2 balls and a strike.
Jake.
2-1 tapped right back to Dalton Brooks, who will casually make the throw up to second base. That time that he had to wait on it allowed Jake Cook to beat the throw out.
Yeah, if you want to get both of those outs right there, you better get it over to second base in a hurry. As soon as Dalton Brooks took that first step towards second base, everybody in the ballpark knew it wasn't going to be a double play. But got the ground ball from Cook there, the left-handed hitter, when he needed one to put himself in a spot to get this third out without a run crossing.
Ozzie Pratt turns on this baseball down the right field line. If it's fair, it's gone. It's not either of those. Inside the park, Josh Stevenson. That ball died in the wind down that right field line, and a sliding catch made by the right fielder who's filling in for Big John Smith tonight. The Jags avoid disaster of giving up more runs. They hold it to 4-0 as we head to the top of the 6th. D1 baseball, the official poll shows you this to the top 10. There's the Golden Eagles sitting at 13th at the moment. By the way, 2 Tuesdays from now, they go to Tuscaloosa for what could be a premier matchup. The other Sun Belt Conference members still ranked. Troy, Skylar Meade's ball club, they have been as advertised. Oh, by the way, don't get too far down the road, but there is a series that'll happen in Troy, Alabama, the last weekend of the season.
Wow, that adds up to a potential climax there between 2 very good ball clubs in the Sun Belt Conference, representing by way of the top 25 in the country.
Ty Brooks, the shortstop, hitting in the 9-hole for South Alabama. Boy, you got to think for Ty Brooks, that was a standard routine double play that probably should have been turned back to Dalton Brooks off the bat of Jake Cook. But Ty Brooks was just a touch slow back to second base. Dalton Brooks had to hold up just a second, and that literally fraction of a second was enough to allow Jake Cook to beat it out. Middleton's got him in a 1-ball, 2-strike count. He struck out against JB in his first at-bat back into third. 1-2 changeup, that just missed. Boy, Middleton's put a boatload of breaking balls out there tonight. A boatload of changeups to go with him. 2-2 pitch. He goes breaking ball behind the changeup at 88. That's the 8th strikeout of the night for JB Middleton.
Middleton's really shown that he's going after these left-handed hitters with that slider in. It's been very effective, but as you mentioned, Jason, the changeup working as well. We haven't seen him try to blow guys away with his fastball. There is some respect for this South Alabama Jaguar offense.
Brennan Holt puts good wood on this. Out to center field is Jake Cook, who runs it down. That was sharply hit near 100 miles an hour exit velo. But it does go as a fly ball out, and there's 2 away.
Second ball hit tonight that I thought had a chance to be off the wall. That one there, and then Davis Gillespie earlier in the ball game. Once again, there's the old 2 quick outs meeting to sort of.
What would you tell your guys? I've always wanted to know. Like,
I'll tell you this, Jason, sometimes I'd say, hey, I'm just pulling you over here because we got 2 quick outs and we got to change something up.
I've always wanted honesty in that answer. Big cut by John Smith here at a fastball from JB Middleton.
We got to change something up here and break a rhythm somehow. So let's chat for a little bit. How you doing? You got a girlfriend these days?
Is that what you would ask him?
Yeah. How's science class going?
You may not recall it. What's the weirdest answer anyone's ever gave you?
I don't know, Coach.
Think on that. We can reveal that later. 0-2 John Smith fouls this one back and out of play.
Those junior college guys, they were some characters.
Not at the junior college level.
You might ask them about science class and they'd say, what science class?
Didn't go to it this morning. 0-2, you can't answer about science class if you don't go to it.
That's right.
Ball 2 strikes to John Smith here at the top of the 6th. John Smith checked his swing on a pitch that was in the left-handed batter's box. That's how effective JB Middleton's been. That was a cutter from JB Middleton at 88.
Changeup. He's kind of tried to backdoor the changeup there. Just command for both off-speed pitches on both sides of the plate.
Full count payoff pitch. He goes heater upstairs. Little bouncer over to Ozzie Pratt. John Smith can run well down the line. Russo couldn't get the tag applied in time as Pratt's throw went high.
That's the toughest throw for the shortstop. It's deep in the 6 hole, catching it with the momentum kind of back towards right field, having to come back through it. And Ozzie, who has a really good arm, kind of had to rush it a little bit with the good runner Smith, but it's a long throw and a tough one to make. If the throw's on the money, it might have been the 3rd out of the inning, but it was a tough one to make.
Kyle Morrison sees this in for a strike at 87.
Been really impressed by Middleton's ability to dot that hard slider inside of these left-handed hitters. It's not something you want to swing at, but he's been able to get it in there for a strike all night long.
Springs off the mound like a cat. Throws it over to a bull. That'll be it for the top of the 6th inning. Jags strand a runner. 4-0 Southern Miss will press forward. Threat of rain is in the area tomorrow. That's going to push the first pitch time back. It'll be Saturday night under the lights of Pete Taylor Park. A 7 o'clock first pitch for game 2 of this series. Tomorrow night at Pete Taylor Park. It'll be Pete Taylor Park after dark. Kirtland, we saw a ball game already this season against Old Dominion, finish beyond midnight. Probably going to get an opportunity at least to kind of flirt with that opportunity tomorrow night.
Yeah, I guess if you cross Sibley, the advantage is that he dealt with it 2 weeks ago for a pushed back game. having to change your routine and what you do prior to that start being a longer day.
Veteran Dalton Brooks puts a slider at 71 wide of home plate.
But when you have a baseball field that has artificial turf as the playing surface, you have an opportunity to wait out the rain and get started as soon as it passes. So it's a luxury for playing in Hattiesburg for these two teams here at Pete Taylor Park to be able to just push that time back and get the game in.
2-0 changeup inside Davis Gillespie. It's Gillespie, Russo, Monastery. There's the fastball at 87. Right down the pipe.
Yeah, Dalton Brooks is mixing it up a bunch. Sometimes it looks like a wiffle ball coming out of his hands. He floats it in there, but two fastballs there. I'm sure Gillespie wishes he could get those back after the first two pitches.
Full count to Gillespie. This one wide of the plate. It's a walk out of the hand of Dalton Brooks for Davis Gillespie. And a leadoff walk to start this bottom of the sixth inning. Dalton Brooks, a sixth-year guy in this program. First out of the pen tonight. Should be noted there's been some injuries within this pitching staff. Jackson Scheinflug been a little bit banged up. Matthew Russo sees a changeup with that thing. Breaks way away, and here's what Matthew Russo did tonight off the starter Zach Willingham.
Yeah, we talked about the approach that Russo was selling himself out to. Did a great job staying back on the left-handed pitch and banging it off the scoreboard. This time it was a little bit tougher, waiting back on that 75 miles an hour. Kind of missed underneath for the easy can of corn in right field. But I was going to mention it, Jason, that it's a challenge as an offense to face that slow velocity, that change of pace. And Dalton Brooks is doing a really good job of keeping these hitters off balance.
Well, look, to be frank, right, it's just not what you see in everyday college baseball anymore. You don't see 75 with a fastball at 88. Not atypically, you'll see a few of those guys, but this is a sport where the velocity has skyrocketed rampant across the country. Look at this, a slider out of the hand of Dalton Brooks, wide of home plate. A wild pitch allows Gillespie up into scoring position. Second wild pitch of the night for Jags pitching. Monastery's got a 1-1 count. Sees the slider away. Well, there is nothing straight out of the hand of Dalton Brooks. Got to be thinking Monastery's hunting that fastball. Got it. He put this into the right field corner. Josh Stevenson will get the throw in, but it's an RBI single by Davis Gillespie. Excuse me, by Nick Monastery, blading Davis Gillespie. Second base knock of the night for Nick Monastery. The Golden Eagles on top, 5-0. Harlan, I was alluding to the point I was getting ready to go to you to say your approach has got to be trying to seat the fastball, right?
Yeah, no question. I think, or sit soft, but something that I think these hitters are good enough to do is try to know that soft is coming. I think a great job by Monastery. I mean, taking advantage of Gillespie being able to move up to second base on the wild pitch and driving him home. I think Stevenson did an above-average job of cutting that ball off in right field and keeping Monastery on first base.
I agree, boy, he really did. Nicely done by him. That ball was touched by Nick Monaster the other way. It's a 1-1 count to Carson Pato. Change-up falls out the bottom of the zone. You know, you say sit soft, but with the movement, the shape, that's easier said than done against Dalton Brooks, right?
Yeah. But, you know, it's timing on the velocity and the pace of that pitch, and it doesn't mean you're gonna drive it off the barrel of the bat, but if you can at least pick the timing part down, you got a chance here. So obviously there's not many secrets about a lot of these arms that come in, especially for conference weekend series, and kind of look at the stats of certain arms coming in and you realize the majority of what they throw.
2-2. This is rocketed right past Lucas Ismaili. Carson Pato's thinking two. He'll have it.
So that was a count that the team felt comfortable in sending Monaster. He takes off and steals on that pitch. That had a lot to do with the time it was taking Dylan Brooks to get to home plate and the amount of breaking pitches he's throwing. It's also an account in which Pato really would need to be protecting and swinging, and that ground ball caught the first baseman Ismaili off guard after bouncing off and realized that Monaster was stealing. And so Pato's able to first to third Monaster and get him over there and move up to second because the ball's floating around right field. And now the Eagles find themselves with 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out, with one of their hot bats and Stockman coming up.
That ball was hit 109. Pato was out in front of it. It was the changeup from Dalton Brooks. Tucker Stockman on the 1-0 count sees this in for a strike. That's the wicked shape. That's the changeup from Dalton Brooks. Opponents are hitting just .240 with runners on base against Dalton Brooks on the season. Tucker Stockman, huge cut at the change again. So 2 on, 1 away.
Just a spot here where you have to sell out for your team and try to move that baseball. With 2 strikes here.
1-2. Tucker Stockman lifts it up, first base side, out of play. You've used that terminology, you really taught me. You say you move the baseball. Essentially, it's right. You're just trying to put this thing in play, specifically more moving it to the backside, right?
Yeah, yes and no. Once again, we've talked also before about hitting a ground ball with 1 out. No matter what, Nick Monaster's at third base searching for some down angle in his secondary lead. As soon as that ball hits the turf, he's going to take off and try to score. Of course, Tucker Stockman didn't have success in that particular at-bat trying to move that ball, as we were talking about.
Dre Barrett gets an RBI opportunity, really a couple of them if he can put a ball to the gap. He's hit 2 singles tonight. There's another changeup from Dalton Brooks in for a strike to begin this at-bat.
We talk about kind of sitting for timing and using the term cutting the field in half and trying to use that backside for timing's sake. And Dre Barrett did that right there. Didn't allow himself to fall out in his front side like some of these other hitters did so far in this inning. Stayed tall, stayed on his pole, stayed back in order to drive the baseball. It was a 75-mile-an-hour pitch, so a slow pitch, maybe the changeup again working. And Dre Barrett was able to stay back and drive 2 runs in here with 2 outs for this Golden Eagle offense.
Well, you know, Travis Creel told us at the start of this season, it's a veteran-like approach at the plate from Dre Barrett. I think it's no more evidence than that right there. Kirtland, you go up there with 2 outs and 2 on.
That's right. A guy coming into this game, he's only struck out 11 times this year, but has 9 walks. And once again, if you look at a hitter that walks almost as much as he strikes out, you're going to see a hitter that's very successful offensively. And Barrett here is on the climb. He's a guy that earned the starting job for opening day at third base, a guy who's playing, getting his starts against left-handed pitching, trying to prove to this coaching staff that maybe he deserves more, or could be an everyday guy. And in a bat like that, to get a big hit for some RBIs with 2 outs is a way to do that.
Joey Urban swings and misses on the Frisbee slider from Dalton Brooks, but not before the Golden Eagles get 3 more runs. They lead it 7-0 tonight after 6 here in the Bird. That's the unofficial, official Carson Pato fan club. Kids in the Pine Belt love them some Carson Pato. They're going to need a new face to love after this season. That may be the Dre Barrett fan club coming up, because boy, what an impressive at bat. That 2 out, 2 RBI single, just a beautiful piece of hitting too, right? He didn't get the fastball, he hit the changeup, and really you could see, you alluded to it, staying back, kind of staying close, and just going the other way to Dre Barrett to play 2 more runs for Southern Miss in this ball game.
That's right. It's a tough thing to do, to stay back on those guys that are really soft, coming at this lineup really soft, and taking control of your body to stay back. Dalton Brooks giving certain guys fits, but Dre Barrett able to deliver when his team needed it most.
Jake Cook is camped underneath this baseball, shy of the warning track. Off the bat of Duncan Matthews, and there's 1 away. Well, where do we start with JB Middleton? Here he is in the top of the 7th inning. He's only had 76 pitches, Kirtland. We've seen him with over 90 plus in 4 inning appearances and 5 inning appearances. Tonight, he's been as efficient as he's been all season long to this point.
That's right. 1 walk on the night, so you can really keep your pitch count down when you're not giving up free bags via the base on balls. But his ability to locate both the slider and the changeup this evening have made him really tough to hit, and have made him very effective to cruise into the 7th inning here. And that's the pitch that is really tough to handle. It caught the bottom of the strike zone, called a ball, a really good 0-2 pitch. Could have easily been a strike 3 pitch.
That one back over the plate. They say Ismaili on the check swing, goes around. It'll be a strikeout for JB Middleton.
2 really good fastballs by Middleton there, dotting the black.
Had 9 strikeouts. He had 10 against Old Dominion in his last start back here at Pete Taylor Park. He begins Rhett Johnson with a tight slider. With the shape to Middleton's slider tonight has been spectacular.
And you see him match it up again. Goes backdoor slider, goes front door changeup to the left-handed hitters. He's showing that he can throw the changeup to lefties. He can throw the slider right there to lefties as well. And the same thing goes with both off-speed pitches to the right-handed hitters. When you match that with a fastball that's 95 to 97 miles an hour, you got something that's tough to handle.
Yeah, Red Johnson tardy on the fastball here, slices it foul. I think the beauty of the performance to this point is the efficiency of it. I mean, he's a guy looking like he wants to go deeper into this ball game. 2-2, back foot slider to Red Johnson. It's only the 2nd time he's been in a full count to a South Alabama Jag tonight. In fact, it's the only time he's walked the Jag. 3-2. Walking this one, that's a slider for you. 10 strikeouts for JB Middleton. That matches his career high. We'll move on after the 7th inning stretch at Pete Taylor Park here in Baseburg. Pete Taylor Park, Hill Denson Field in all its glory on a Friday night. That's really seen a bit of it all from the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. It's been excellent pitching from their starter, JB Middleton, timely hitting. That was what was on display last inning. A big fly from Matthew Russo, patience at the plate. Now they've got to just find a way to add to it and continue to build upon this lead here in the bottom of the 7th. And who better to start it off none other than Jake Cook, who hits .577 on the season when leading off an inning.
That's another strong stat, Jason. That's pretty nice for your leadoff hitter. Of course, Dalton Brooks will probably go as long as he can. If you're Coach Mark Calvey with South Alabama being down 7 at this point, you just kind of want to eat up some innings and try to get, if it gets close, you might fire up your bullpen, but at this point, if Dalton Brooks can keep these guys off balance and eat up another inning or two, he'll be able to save some arms. Of course, the challenge against Dalton Brooks, if you're Southern Miss, is staying back. He's got some soft stuff that can give some hitters fits.
Good punts a fastball, gets one, and puts this one foul and out of play. The Jags in their Tuesday night loss to nationally ranked the Auburn Tigers. They used 7 pitchers on Tuesday night. In comparison, Golden Eagles used 5 in their loss to Nichols on Tuesday night. Jay Cook wears a slider here from Dalton Brooks. Sometimes I think the ability on these weekend series, Kirtland, and maybe it's an underrated factor into the ability to conference series wins, is how your Friday night guy or your pin on Friday night, the efficiency that they work sets you up for the capability to play Saturday and Sunday with some of your good bullets, right?
No question. 3 games in a row. You got 27 innings to play. You have a Friday night game with your Friday night guy. You try to get as deep as you can with him in order to have as much as you can retain for your Saturday and Sunday ball games. So what JB Middleton has done thus far for this Southern Miss club, Coach Ostrander and his staff need to be pleased with where they are as far as giving some of those guys an extra night's rest leading into the rest of the games this weekend.
Two-seamer right down the pipe to Ozzie Pratt. Gets ahead of the count. It's Dalton Brooks. Dalton, the guy that's now over 16 innings pitched in this season for South Alabama. Very respectable 3.24 ERA. Listen, man, the numbers are good. This is another example. This has been an efficient tool for South Alabama to this point. But it's just a club that's just still trying to figure some things out. I mean, you look at the 18 strikeouts to 7 walks for Dalton Brooks. Giving up 6 earned runs over that 16-inning span. Pratt going the other way here. See what Dalton Brooks goes with on the 2-ball, 2-strike count with a runner on and Jake Cook. He goes off speed. Ishmaeli covers it up. No throw as Cook was practically a pace away from second base by the time Ishmaeli got ready to make his turn. Instead, it's an unassisted put out for the first out. And the Jags are calling on their pin. It's a meeting to the mound. See, as Ishmaeli just put it in his pocket and said, that's it, I'll just get the out at first. And so the Jags making a change. That's it for Dalton Brooks here in the bottom of the 7th inning. 1 out, 1 on for Southern Miss. We'll take a break and step away. We'll be back to Pete Taylor Park. New pitcher on the mound for South Al when we return. South Alabama making a call to the pin. Another low arm slot guy, the senior right-hander out of Martinsville, Virginia, Garrett Kingus, on for South Alabama, trying to induce a ground ball of some kind of Mark Calvey. You've got Jake Cook in scoring position as well. Dalton Brooks' night is done in South Alabama, making the call to the pin.
That's right, another 3-pitch guy that pitches from underneath. Getting to see another arm coming out of the bullpen for South Alabama. If you're Southern Miss, you're pleased to try to get as many arms as you can out of that bullpen here on Friday night with a lead.
This has been an efficient arm as well. It's a 1.08 ERA for Kangas. That's across 8 1/3 innings. He's making his 7th appearance of the season. Really see that low arm slot from that wide camera angle.
Now batting for Southern Miss, left fielder Davis Gillespie.
He'll come in to face Davis Gillespie, the 3-position hitter for the Golden Eagles. Gillespie tonight 0 for 2 with a run scored. That happened as he was walked back in the 6th. Slider to begin the AB wide. Another slider wide of the plate. Gillespie way ahead here. This two-seamer, maybe a change out of Kangas' hand. That one at 84. Rio that missed downstairs. It's a 4-pitch walk for Davis Gillespie. And that's 2 on with 1 out. And Matthew Russo coming to the plate. Coach Calvey kind of calling some buttons tonight. It's a different mix. It's not the atypical arm out of the pen. There's the fastball. That one down and into Matthew Russo at 85 miles per hour.
Yeah, you go, left-handed pitching starter and a couple guys with some funky stuff pitching from underneath. Sometimes when you're a hitter, you just want that stock right-handed arm to come into the game, but Coach Calvey not going to give it to him tonight.
Don't get Matthews out to talk to Garrett Kangas.
It's going to be 6 balls in a row.
It's Matt Hancock in his first year, the pitching coach, going out to talk to try to settle his reliever down. I think you're seeing a little bit of the effect too, right? Little scoreboard watching, understanding the situation and just trying to find a way to get him to pitch more efficiently, try to fill up the zone.
A little bit of a challenge there.
Jordan Wine, a left-hander who threw on Tuesday night out of Miamisburg, Ohio, up. Kind of speaks, right? I mean, this would be a situation, honestly, that would scream lefty on left matchup, but they're staying with the right-hander against Russo. That speaks honestly to how Russo has done. The splits kind of tell you that as well, that he's done that well against left-handed pitching. Second straight. Balls now out of the hand of Garrett Kangas. Two-seamer at the knees to Russo. He'll see it for the first strike of Garrett's appearance to this point. And it's a walk. Matthew Russo is going to load the bases.
Now batting for Southern Miss, second baseman, Nick Monastery.
That's without a hit, too, by the way. That should be noted. And here's Nick Monastery.
Let's go, King. Let's go.
Monastery 2 for 3 tonight. Couple of runs scored and RBI as well. That came in his last at bat off Dalton Brooks. Slider that misses up at 77.
And even Kangas, even with the strong ERA and the 6 appearances and the 8.1 innings pitched, came in tonight with 7 walks on the year, up to 9 now with 10 strikeouts. So we talk a lot about what you want to see out of a hitter, the greatest hitters have walks totals that are closer to the strikeout total. The greatest pitchers have a lot more strikeouts than they do walks.
And the story tonight too, right? They have walked 9. There has been 1 extra base hit by the Golden Eagles. That was the homer by Matthew Russo. 2-2. Monastery fights this one off. Kyle Morrison will take the out. That does score Jake Cook from third to push the score to 8-0 here in this bottom of the 7th inning.
Now batting for Southern Miss,
It's the old move the baseball and score a run. Caught enough handle to not be a hard hit ball. Moving on down angle right away. We talk about it a lot in this booth. With 1 out, Jake Cook's looking for something down angle, something hit on the ground. Is going to go no matter what. Yes, the infield is playing in that scenario, but he's still going no matter what.
Intentionally walk Carson Pato with first base open.
Back to your matchup talk, Jason. In this situation with the low arm slot of Kangas, not wanting to pitch to the left-handed hitting Carson Pato, instead electing to face the right-handed hitting Stockman.
Says a lot, man. It says a lot about the growth of Matthew Russo. It says a lot about the growth of Carson Pato, too. I mean, they've got a left-handed reliever ready in the pen. And instead of going left on left against Carson Pato, or rather staying with Kangas, they put him on. Situation says you could put him on there with first base open.
Well, with 2 outs, you still don't love to load the bases, you know, when you're losing. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I mean, 2 seasons ago, they're making a change. They're getting a left-handed arm. That left-handed arm is probably in to face Matthew Russo, and then if he lasts, to face Carson Pato.
Let's go, King. Let's go, King.
0-1 to Tucker. Stockman rides high. That was a fastball, 85 miles per hour up out of the zone. Tucker Stockman 1 for 3 tonight with a walk. He has struck out a couple of times. First at bat this season with the bases loaded. 1 miss downstairs. He's ahead of the count. 2 balls and a strike. Hitting in the 7th hole tonight.
Go, King. Let's go.
2-1. Fights this one off the handle of the bat and just foul.
And those are the types of knocks that Tucker Stockman has been getting this year. You know, kind of has the ability to fight some things off, even if he's behind in the count. And strong kid that can muscle one off the handle into right field on the backside and drop it in there. That one just a little wide of the foul line.
That is what he has done this season with runners in scoring position to this point, hitting .387 on the season. 2-2. Lucas Ismaili catches the line out, but the Golden Eagles get a run without a hit. They now lead it 8-0 after 7 innings of play tonight in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. We'll be back with more Sun Belt Conference baseball on ESPN. It's been a pretty good night for JB Middleton, if I don't say so myself. Chris Kirtland, he has commanded all 3 of his pitches tonight.
For sure, punching out a ton of guys and back out for more here in the 8th. Trying to put his team on his shoulders on a Friday night and get deep into this ball game. He's already accomplished that. Kind of has his sights set on getting through the 8th, and who knows, maybe even the 9th if he can make a quick one out of this one.
You look at what he has done. That one hit was a single out in the left field off the bat of Lucas Ismaili back in the 2nd inning.
1 hit and 1 walk, correct?
That's it, yep. 2 above the minimum.
Pairing that with 10 strikeouts, tying his career high. A chance for some more here in the 8th.
Yeah, and I love, to me, too, the number that's on your screen. This is a ground ball, pass first base, but foul. Is the 87 pitch mark. He's looking back in a couple of his starts. He had 88 pitches in 4 innings against TCU. He went 96 pitches in 5 innings against La Tech. 97 pitches in 5 innings against the Seahawks at UNCW. And that was a challenge from Christian Ostrander. He said, I need him deeper in ball games. So since that UNCW point, he's gone 95 pitches across 7 innings against ODU, struck out 10 in that one as well. Slider, this one's wide of the plate. 90 pitches last week against Monroe across 6 innings of 6-hit baseball. So he's working himself deeper. Remember, this is only his 10th career start. He's getting better with every one of them as he picks up his new career high 11th strikeout of the night against Craig Pate, and there's 1 away.
That's a great story, Jason, on the progression for JB Middleton in his first year as a starter. A guy who earns a Friday night role and just keeps getting better is a great way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's been in the program so much that you assume him to be a veteran, and yes, he is. I mean, he's been a reliever. He's been used right to this point. I think tonight was his 39th appearance as a Golden Eagle out on the mound. But the 10 starts tell the story, right? That's a starter that's still learning how his stuff is going to work later in ball games. Big cut from Josh Stevenson.
Once again, showing that slider inside. 88-mile-an-hour pitch. That's good velo for a breaking pitch. There it is again. Kind of buried it there when he's ahead with 2 strikes. But to show that that's an out pitch for left-handed hitters, and pairing that with the changeup that can go away. But you see kind of inside of the plate there, I guess I should say inside part of the zone, burying that pitch to the back foot. It's a really tough thing for a left-handed hitter to handle.
Fastball rides high here to Ty Brooks, the 9-hole hitter for South Alabama. Ground ball over to Nick Monaster. His throw to Matthew Russo. A couple seasons ago, we told him to get Rob Freeman on the phone. They might want to do it for that man. Pitching Ninja, starting pitcher, having a night. New career high in strikeouts. We'll be back with the bottom of the 8th in Hattiesburg. A lot of hugs and hand pounds for JB Middleton. 8 innings of work tonight for him. 12 strikeouts, the 1 walk, the 1 hit. A lot of hugs right now in that dugout. Kind of leads you to believe there'll be a reliever on the mound to close this one out tonight. Might possibly at the top of the 9th if need be.
Sure thing, Jason, and it's time. Great job keeping it under 100 pitches and getting through 8 innings for his team. That's what you're looking for out of your Friday night guy, and JB answered the call tonight once again.
Dre Barrett up to the plate. Still facing Garrett Kangas. This is hit softly out to the second baseman, Greg Pate, who makes the catch on the line out. The handle of the bat of Dre Barrett. There's one away.
Good job by Pate keeping his feet moving, catching that ball before it hit the turf. A little slip there at the end.
Ball Eagles going to send Ben Higdon up to the plate.
And it's the spot to do it. We've talked about it some since Kangas has come into the game, trying to get left-handed hitters against the sidearm delivery. Urban had a little trouble with it in the 6th against Brooks. So just a spot where Higdon can get an at-bat and get in the game and see some pitches.
This is an SEC transfer from the University of Kentucky, native of Paducah, Kentucky. Slider shape out of the hand of Kangas. But he's behind in the count now to Ben Higdon. Higdon hitting just $190 on the season across 42 at-bats, but he has scored 9 runs for this club, driven in 3. It's really had more to do with the development of Joey Urban into this lineup than anything that Ben Higdon has done or has not done. But a nice pinch hit at-bat here. He comes in. He's 1 pitch for a strike, lays off everything else that was crooked, and takes his walk down to first base, Curtin.
Yeah, sometimes it's a great move to get a left-handed hitter in the box against these style pitchers. And once again, this Eagle lineup finding a way to get this guy back in the batter's box for the 6th time this evening.
Jay Cook is 0 for 3 tonight. He has reached on a walk that resulted in his RBI. Reached on a fielder's choice. He's been hit by a pitch and also scored a run. Slices one past Travis Creel. Evens the count up at a ball and a strike. Top of the order tonight. The 1-2-3 hitters at the moment, a combined 0 for 9 for Southern Miss. That's not necessarily nights that are recipe for success, but I will point you to our conversation back in the earlier innings. I think it speaks to the depth. It speaks to what this lineup can do, where it's not necessarily 1, 2, and 3 that have to get it done. We've covered clubs, we've seen teams in this ballpark that you felt like there was 0 chance of winning if, you know, the first, second, and third hitter in that order can't get it done, right?
Yeah, and once again, it's one of those evenings where a stat like that can be somewhat deceiving too. By my unofficial count, there's been 13 walks, hit by pitches, or intentional walks handed out by the South Alabama pitching staff. So that includes some guys earlier in that lineup as well. But when you get those many freebies, it's typically an indication of strike throwing percentage too, and sometimes you're not getting too much to hit.
Higdon's cut down on the force out. There was no throw over to first. Fielder's choice again for Jake Cook. It's a good time he's been aboard on one of those.
It's one of those things you get given 13 bags, you know, by a pitching staff. If you're an offense, you better be, you know, putting 8 to 10 runs on the board. And so far this evening, Southern Miss has been able to score runs, even with limited strikes coming across the plate.
Pratt hitting .265. Maybe the most shocking stat of the night. He's only hit .182 this season with 2 outs. He has got a clutch gene in him. That will rise as this season sort of matriculates on. The 1-1. Or two-seamer in there for a strike, and it's 1-2 to Ozzie. Might have been the best pitch Garrett Kangas has thrown since entering this ball game. That was 84 with 21 inches of run right to that front corner. Pratt sees the slider inside, evens it up, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And not many hitters in the country had the finish to 2024 that Ozzie Pratt did. You know, second half of Sun Belt Conference play, it's a tough spot to be able to make the appeal call. Look, that's what he's saying right here. I'm standing at second base. I can't make that call. Of course, Mark Calvi is saying, why don't you call it? You're at home plate. You saw if he swung or not.
Michael Holman is giving a warning to Mark Calvi. Coach was not happy at all. And he's got a great reason to be. You see as Pratt went around, but obviously Joe Harris is out near second base with the runner at first and a 3-man umpiring crew. You can see where Joe Harris.
Yeah, Joe Harris says, how can I make that call? I'm standing here at second base, and he's right. If you're Mark Calvi, you want to see the home plate umpire make that call.
3-2 misses downstairs. Ozzie Pratt with a 2-out
Mike,
walk.
don't take nothing, Mike. Don't take
Cook
nothing.
in second base, Pratt over to first. It's one of those tough moments too. Mark Calvi too, fighting for his guys, right? Understands certainly the situation and wanting to try to keep it at an 8-run ball game. He also would have loved to not give Davis Gillespie another at-bat tonight as Kangas begins this AB with a slider.
Yeah, the 14th free pass given to a Golden Eagle hitter this evening.
Slider here wide of the plate. That includes right the hit by pitches, I believe, as well. There's been 12 walks.
Yep, the hit by pitch and the intentional walk. There's also a catcher's interference, which sometimes you end up putting in that freebie category as well.
One-two, Gillespie down, swinging at the Frisbee, slider upstairs. That's it for the mini rally for the Golden Eagles. They had 2 on, but they'll leave them there. We've played 8 tonight. New pitcher should be on the mound for Southern Miss to close this one out. We'll see, and it happens when we return. Christian Ostrander going with a fiery and intense freshman right-hander. Michael Wascom is in out of Bogalusa, Louisiana. That means JB Middleton's night is done. 8 innings, 12 punch-outs, 1 walk, 1 hit tonight for JB Middleton. He looked like the best pitcher in this league to me.
That's right, Jason. He did an excellent job this evening, throwing all 3 for strikes. Really stood out that he was throwing that slider inside to those left-handed hitters and really putting the off-speed wherever he wanted to. Now he gets to hand the ball over to Micah Wascom here in the 9th with an 8-run lead.
Micah's making his 6th appearance of his freshman campaign. He totes in a 5.40 ERA. 5 innings of work across those 5 appearances. He has walked just 2, struck out 5. Guy that's got a low 90s fastball with ride. Throws a low 80s gyro slider and a low 80s changeup. It'll be Brennan Holt, 1, 2, and 3 to lead it off for South Alabama here in the top of the 9th. There's the two-seamer out of the hand of Micah, and it goes wide of the plate at 88. Loscombe to the plate here, just below the knees of Brennan Holt at 89. Goes 88, just wide of the dish again, and it's a 3-0 count here to Brennan Holt. Puts the two-seamer right to the heart of the white. Fastball again on the outer half. Big cut by Brennan Holt. Managed to make it back to full, Kirtland.
Yeah, just trying to challenge this zone. No reason not to.
Changeup lifted, left field. That's Davis Gillespie who's underneath it. And he'll make the catch. There's one away. You know, we often talk about the development of Russo at first base and the position battle sort of that he and Gillespie had. The whole other side of that story is the development out in left of Davis Gillespie. And keep in mind, he showed up here as a third baseman, really spent his entire redshirt season working at third base. They then decided to try him out at first, then realized his bat was so valuable, as was Russo's, that they had to make the move over to left field. Make no bones about it, his ability to play out there has helped this ball club.
No question, Jason, and it's a challenge for a guy that comes up as an infielder and hasn't played any outfield in his life to go out there and play Division I college left field. And it's something that Davis took over with an open mind and did it well back half of 2024. Goes to the Cape Cod League and does it in summer ball. Came back ready to do it here in 2025 and has made some plus plays out there too.
3-1 count to John Smith. Two-seamer that just missed outside, and John Smith takes a walk down to first base. Just the second walk tonight, surrendered by Golden Eagle pitching.
Sundstrom, a true freshman, a guy who's earned appearances as a true freshman, a guy that this coaching staff feels like has a great mentality. He's going to be good for years to come.
There's the changeup from Michael Loscombe. Might have been the slider, actually. Looked like a backdoor slider to Kyle Morrison.
Yeah, that one was hard to tell. Definitely off speed.
This ball is hammered to right center field off the bat of Kyle Morrison. Back-to-back ball games for him with a homer. All the way back to last Sunday against Louisiana, and he puts the Jags on the board. The shutout gone. It's an 8-2 ball game here with one out in the top of the ninth. That ball was touched to 434 feet later. That was a changeup in the heart of the plate.
Big hitter for South Alabama, number 18, Mike Young.
Michael Young, a pinch hitter, is up for the Jags, in for Duncan Matthews. And it's a ground ball over to Dre Barrett, who's got it over to Matthew Russo. And there's two away. Lucas Ishmaeli to the plate for South Alabama here.
This hitter for South Alabama, number 33, Hector McWall.
Michael Loscombe spikes that fastball. You could see sort of the intensity from him. That one hit about 58 feet from home plate. big cut from Hector Mangual. Mangual, the pinch hitter for Ishmaeli. Trying to get the call. Boy, he's dotted a few to the bottom of the zone that he's not been able to get the strike call on from Michael Holman. Our home plate umpire tonight. Ball's behind in the count to Mangual. There's the gyro slider at 83. That would miss downstairs, and it's 3-1. 3-1 pitch. Fastball just off the plate. Second walk surrendered by Wascom since coming in. We'll have another pinch hitter for the Jags. The meeting of the mound of the teammates, Tucker Stockman, Matthew Russo, a couple of leaders for this ball club. Robert Miranda will be the pinch hitter for South Alabama. Mark Calvey just trying to keep a top of the ninth inning kind of spark, anything to maybe carry him into game 2. This guy's changeup misses inside. Fastball for Micah that missed downstairs. So 2-ball, no strike count here. That 27th out sometimes can be the toughest. 2-0 pitch down and away, and it's 3 balls and no strikes. Wascom to the plate, 3-0s wide. That's a 4-pitch walk for Robert Miranda. And Christian Ostrander out of the dugout. No sign yet. I don't know that he had an arm up and ready. Chandler Best was beginning to try to get hot. He does look like he is making the call to the pinch. Chandler Best coming into this ball game. 2 on and 2 out. We'll step away. We'll take a break for the pitching change. We'll return to B. Taylor Clark with Chandler Best coming to the mound. Chandler Best, the senior left-hander out of Mobile, Alabama, on for the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Going to inherit 2 runners here with 2 outs. Trying to get that final 27th out of this ball game. JB Middleton worked 8 innings, took him through 24 outs. Micah Wascom comes in, gets a couple of outs. Micah, should be noted, didn't get a couple of calls. Maybe didn't earn them either, maybe with a couple of walks that he had, and he winds up with a trio of walks, and Christian Ostrander says, I'm going to somebody else to try to slam this door.
I agree. It's a shame. It seemed as if Wascom was really close and around the zone, couldn't get a couple calls, issued that 3rd walk, and so many times we've seen this season and many seasons in the past that once that 3rd free pass gets issued, you're not going to stay out there much longer. But now Chandler Best gets called upon to come out and get 1 out and just get this thing over with. It's one of those bumps in the road for a freshman in Wascom that comes in and may not have gotten it done, but working to get better for it.
Chandler Best goes fastball high here to Greg Patay. Patay is 0 for 2 tonight. So 2 on, 2 outs. The 1-0 pitch is off the plate here, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Already a 2-run home run in the top of the 9th inning for South Alabama. That was Kyle Morrison. He had a changeup 434 feet after the walk to John Smith. And it's been back-to-back walks to Mangual and Miranda. 3-0 fastball, that one right through the heart of the plate. Puts it at 3 balls and a strike. Not up and ready on the pitch clock from Chandler Best. That awards ball 4. And that puts the bases loaded. Full of Jags here with 2 outs.
For South Alabama, number 4, JB Middleton.
His eyes were not up on the 10-second clock. You could see it right there, immediately called by Micah Holman. So they award ball 4. And a fastball from Chandler Best, and all of a sudden Micah Holman's gone to a tight zone. That's dotted at the bottom of the K zone for Chandler Best.
Yeah, we saw a couple of those when Wascom was on the mound.
Ethan Melton is the pinch hitter for South Alabama. He's hitting in place of Josh Stevenson here in the top of the 9th. This fly ball is popped up. Wind is going to blow it back towards the line. Tucker Stockman. An acrobatic catch to secure the W. Golden Eagles win it tonight 8-2 over South Alabama, but not before the Jags threaten. Here in the top of the 9th, they strike for a couple of runs. But Chandler Best comes in, gets the pop out in foul territory. Kirtland, the story of the night. JB Middleton and a couple of veteran bats in that lineup. Matthew Russo, Nick Monaster have some big swings, and Dre Barrett as well with 2 out, 2 RBI single. Overall, a nice performance from Southern Miss.
Yeah, it's just a great complete game for Southern Miss on this Friday night here. And now they're going to pack it in for the evening and watch this rain come through tomorrow and hope to get out here later on after it all passes for game 2.
That's exactly right. Enjoyed it with you, my man. We'll have you back into this booth on Sunday afternoon. It'll be a first pitch at 7 o'clock tomorrow for game 2. For Chris Kirtland, for Marty Wyndham, our statistician, I'm Jason Baker. Special thank you to each media relations department. We couldn't do this without Leafield and his entire camera crew. We appreciate you being a part of us at Sun Belt Conference Baseball on ESPN.